Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to our panelists. I'm a little bit nervous. So, because these people are, and we're going to talk about, can you hear me? Does this work? Yeah. Okay, so the name of this panel is Phigital Reality. We all know Phigital is kind of a new word that means the mix between digital and physical objects. Bringing the digital art into a physical space. So I feel like these are the best proponents. I've written down some questions because I would never want to mess it up. So to kick things off, I'd love for each of you to briefly introduce yourself and in a couple of sentences just tell your audience how you're operating within the digital space with some physical intersections, just one by one. Harto.
Check. Yeah. Hello, I'm Harto. I'm a digital artist, mainly working with generative art and in the ordinals ecosystem since the first week.
I'm Erin, Redwing. I organize the Inscribing conferences. I do all the programming. I'm one half of the Hell Money podcast. What else? I do president of the Open Ordinals Institute. I don't know. I wear many hats. High priestess of ordinals. Many different hats in this ecosystem.
Hi, I'm Carole. I'm ops lead at Gamma, and I'm also a dot work artist, so physical artist in Bitcoin.
I'm Tommy Marcheschi. I'm with Bitcoin Magazine and the Bitcoin Conference, obviously happening here down the road in the Venetian. Hopefully all y'all are going to that as well. I'm the artist in residence at Bitcoin Magazine, and I do just a whole lot of art for Bitcoin or Bitcoin for art or whatever. Bitcoin on art on Bitcoin.
And speaking on that, I guess the first thing I would like to know is obviously all of you are intrinsically digitally involved. Like you mostly practice your art and store your art on chain in one way or another. Some of you guys started with the physical world and then transitioned into the digital and the other way around. So I guess what do you guys think the value is in connecting physical and digital artworks, pieces, or whatever it is? Do you guys think we could call it like that bad word utility? Like, is there value? Like, is that why you guys decide to create digital equivalents to your physicals or the other way around? Is it the utility? What value is there?
Yeah, I think I'm a huge Bitcoiner, and like I've been at Bitcoin Magazine since 2017. I feel like I've had the orange pill experience of all orange pill experiences, just being able to be an artist working at Bitcoin Magazine and learning about Bitcoin Magazine, making art about Bitcoin. The permanence of Bitcoin as a storage database, I know that's a hot button issue right now, whether or not it should be used for ordinals or arbitrary data. I think everybody in this room is probably on the right side of that argument. But just the permanence of Bitcoin and being able to take your physical scan of your painting and put it on Bitcoin and know that it's going to be there for people to find in the future, hundreds of years from now, potentially, where even like the painting itself might have already decayed, just that, there's a value prop there, obviously, and I think being able to have your physical art anchored to Bitcoin, and especially this early in Bitcoin, we're only 15, 16 years old as far as Bitcoin, it's a huge value add, but very few collectors understand this at this point, so also a good opportunity to collect Phigital art, of course, that's on Bitcoin.
So almost like your inscriptions of your physical artworks are almost like your on-chain backup, right? Is that how?
And a timestamp for when this piece was created. Obviously, like the piece has to exist before the scan can exist, and then that has to exist before it's inscribed into Bitcoin. So you have a timestamp that's basically a birth date digitally for the piece itself, which is also an archival property, right?
Yeah, I think I think one of the things that makes Bitcoin so valuable in the first place is that it kind of tethers the physical and digital realm together on a very base level, which is energy consumption. Like, I think a lot of people who spend a lot of time on the computer have the experience of feeling like your physical body or your physical world is suffering as a result of the amount of time and energy that you spend in the digital realm. There's like increasingly this disconnect that we have between physical and digital. And I think, honestly, like something that unites them is energy consumption. Like in physical reality, obviously, you need energy. You eat food, you need energy to walk around, all those kind of things. Bitcoin uses a lot of energy as well. And I think that's honestly a quintessential property of Bitcoin that helps create this value tether from real world to digital and back and forth. And so I feel like even beyond, you talk about like timestamps, like marking something on the blockchain, like I just think increasingly we're putting more and more stuff digitally, but we're not totally sure how to integrate that into physical reality. And we'll never leave physical reality fully. Like that's always going to be important. We're always going to need to eat and drink and do normal human things. And so I think, whether you're like an artist or a technical person or a builder, just kind of trying to think about the bridge between those two worlds and making that seamless and making it feel natural for people. I feel like that's where things are just headed in general now.
Harto, Carole?
I was going to say the word bridge because it's true. For me, it's way easier for the collector or for the experience of collecting that you have this digital item that you don't know exactly where it is, and this physical object is going to complement your digital piece. It's a way of certification. No, you have a classical certificate, but that is on chain and is not going to disappear. So it's for an artist, it's perfect.
Yeah, and about the project you're currently working on, you have many different facets to your current project. You've got prints, you've got a sculpture, you have inscriptions out as you have a lot of different ways that you've decided to distribute. Do you feel, and this is a personal curiosity, I feel like I've asked myself the question plenty of times, do you ever feel like whatever medium it is you're trying to use, whether it's physical, like tangible, something you can, like the machine that you created and are exhibiting, or a piece of paper, or a piece of Bitcoin with your art, is that part of your message? Is that part of the message you're trying to put out into the world as an artist? Does the medium, physical or digital, sort of deepen or support the message behind your art ever?
That's very deep. I think I'm someone very philosophical, and I always like...
You're an artist.
So yeah, I'm always thinking on ways of explaining feelings that I don't know how to explain. And digital art in general and my work has this kind of thoughts about technological singularity, or where are we hidden as a human species, etc. No, it's like this philosophical thinking put in these objects. No, and I think that I started doing only digital artworks, but now I'm like mixing those worlds because I think that help it to the viewer, to the collector, to understand better this message. I hope so.
No, that's great. And speaking of tactile and things that may be easier to, I guess, grasp or understand, with SAS cards and the continuum, the calendar that everyone is getting actually over there at the entrance. I would love for you both to touch on those, because it does feel like it's a new way of distributing digital art as well and spreading it out into the world. In both cases, making it easier to share it, right, with your everyday people. So we'd love to hear some thoughts on that.
So Continuum, if you haven't grabbed it yet, don't forget it on your way out, is a calendar, a perpetual calendar that comprises 366 artworks by 91 different artists. So we got every artist, partner artist at Gamma, to create 4 artworks 3 months apart. And so it was also a way, their art is on Bitcoin forever, but now you can look at it, put it on your desk, enjoy it every day without needing a browser for it, and just like flip the pages every day. And since it doesn't have any days on it, just the date, May 21st. You can use it year after year and just like enjoy it forever. It was really cool working with everyone on that project and seeing, how artists adapted their work, which is by nature digital and had to be transferred to physical print. So yeah, it was a whole thing, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool to bridge digital back to physical. Like, what I said before, we're bridging a lot over to digital, and then we kind of like lose ourselves and we don't really realize like what's important. And I think it's cool to think about, this event is an example of it, right? We don't advertise this event. I post about it on Twitter, and people share it in Discord groups, and, people that maybe come back next year. It's not, it really is like a physical representation of a digital ecosystem or of a digital social circle or, cultural circle or hobby even, And so I think like having a physical thing in person to kind of represent that, I don't know, it's cool to see like, with the calendar, like just bringing some of the stuff that maybe people have seen in their digital world into real life, like at a physical event. And part of that was, so we made these ordinal Sats cards, which actually I think right now RAF is doing a workshop about how to inscribe on ordinal Sats cards. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. But basically these are they're literally like wallets in the form factor of a credit card. They're not signing devices, like you can't sign a transaction to transfer Bitcoin out of them, but they're as secure as like, your Xverse wallet or your Sparrow wallet or whatever in terms of private key management. And it's literally like a credit card that has a Bitcoin address on it, and you can tap it, you can see on ordinals.com if it has any inscriptions on it, and you can send inscriptions to it. And then I can take that physical form factor and I can give it to you, and you can take it and you can actually physically take custody of that inscription as if I just sent it to your Bitcoin address or your Xverse wallet or whatever. And so that was like a collaboration that we did with CoinKite, which took a long time to get a Bitcoin Maxi company like CoinKite to agree to work on this, but we got them there. Thank you. I appreciate the applause for that. But it's cool. It's I think ordinals and art and culture, it adds this other layer of like, Bitcoin can be kind of boring. Like you have orange to work with, like you can make things orange and you can...
Yeah, Pepe.
Pepe's, it's almost like we're bringing some of that like Pepe.
We stole Pepe and we're keeping Pepe.
Exactly. It's cool to have like the art and cultural aspect around Bitcoin. I feel like there's just more to do with Bitcoin, honestly, with ordinals and inscriptions. So trying to build that out even more and get people to realize like, hey, you can have fun on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actually great,
Yeah, and you mentioned CoinKite. Like open dimes are some of the coolest things like ever invented in Bitcoin. Just the little USB drive that you can generate a wallet on, and then it's basically cash Bitcoin. Like if the seal isn't broken, you know that this Bitcoin is on the USB drive. But when CoinKite decided they were gonna, make a product specifically for artists, the Sats chip card and the Sats chip, the Sats card, it's a signal that even hardcore Bitcoiners that are like technical, building wallets, building hardware, like they're not adverse to the JPEGs on Bitcoin or, giving Bitcoin the fun face that it lacks without the artists in the community, and bridging the art back onto Bitcoin by giving us basically a physical hardware wallet that is specifically designed to be put in or on your painting. I put a Sats chip card on the back of one of my paintings so that when you tap your phone to the moon, it pops up just like what Erin was talking about, except it's not the cool ordinals.com interface. It's just the Sats chip interface.
We'll get you an ordinal Sats card.
I did put the ordinal on the Sats chip card, and I think it's stuck there now, which is what I intended, because now the digital certificate of authenticity is stuck to the painting, which obviously you could keep them separate and have them trade separately, which is something I'll probably talk about later a little bit. But to be able to burn the ordinal or to burn the NFT directly to the canvas itself and then be able to tap your phone to verify what it is just such a game changer. And to have a company like CoinKite being the one to drive that forward is something that I don't think enough people talk about or utilize, given that it's already here and we can do it.
Awesome. Why don't you expand on what you were just going to touch on, treating those two separately?
Yeah, so what I was going to say is a little backstory. I met Casey when he came to Nashville to visit our Bitcoin Magazine headquarters. This would have been February 2023, sounds like. That's right. And basically, I had been sleeping on ordinals. My friend Christian Carole, CK, many of you probably know him, he tried to get me on it before it went mainnet and was like, you got to check this out. He introduced me to Casey, but I couldn't really wrap my head around it until it was too late. And, it launched, and then I was just trying to catch up to inscribe as fast as possible and get those low inscriptions. But Casey was there in Nashville to help me get set up with ordinals for the first time. And he basically said to me, he's like, do you want to rip a 4-megger? And I was like, I don't know what that is. But yeah, let's do it. And basically, he told me what it is. Obviously, everyone in this room knows what it is. And we were at Bitcoin Park in Nashville.
Maybe explain it for people who
Okay.
don't know.
If you don't know what it is, basically just a 4-megger inscription is taking the entirety of the block space in a Bitcoin block that you can use to fill up with your inscription data, right? So what I did was I took my Bitcoin War Bonds painting, which is a 6-foot tall painting, and I have a scan of it that is like a gigabyte scan file, but I got it down to 4 megabytes. Passed that along to Toshi, actually, was helping me as well with this at the time, and he was able to pass it along to Terrapool. Does that sound right?
Is it Mara?
No, it wasn't Mara. I feel
Luxor?
bad. No, it might have been Luxor. I feel bad that I don't remember who mined it for me.
I think it must have been Luxor.
I think it was Hashbender. It was whoever
It was
Hashbender.
Luxor. It was Luxor.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, but basically what I'm getting to is I was like, hell yeah, let's do the 4-megger. I immediately, once he told me what it was, I was like, I gotta have this. So it ended up being the 3rd ever 4-megger inscribed. And to make the long story short, when I sell the War Bonds painting, I plan on selling the 4-megger separately because I feel like in this case, the two are their own kind of entities as far as like artworks go. And it's like, if you buy the painting, you don't just get the 4-megger for free burned to the back of it because like we want to see how the 4-megger does on its own as like a historic Bitcoin artifact. Obviously, the painting itself I would consider also a historic Bitcoin artifact, but I don't plan on burning the 4-megger to the painting in the same way that I did the child of the 4-megger, actually, which is burned to that other painting on the Sats chip. So that's kind of a situation where just because you have a physical painting and an NFT that goes with it, you don't have to sell the two necessarily as a package deal or burn them to each other. You can consider them separately, their own items. And I think I learned that from Josie Bellini. She drilled that into me early on in my NFT career, and Coldy as well. It's just that you really have to treat these digital artifacts as separate from the physical, even though they are on the same family tree, if that makes sense.
I kind of have a follow-up question on this because I feel like one of the biggest challenges, I guess, that we have in the digital space, and this question is for everyone because everyone here is sort of leading their art career in both the digital and physical space. The biggest challenge, I guess, is onboarding, right, traditional art collectors. For me as a musician, traditional music fans, like, good luck, like all the free music in the world for $9. That's a big challenge. And so I wonder, having a physical aspect to your digital work, does that help? Especially also obviously, for example, for Harto, as I wouldn't consider you just an on-chain artist. You're just an artist, you're working on so many different things. And for Gamma, it's so easy to mint on Gamma for anybody. And for you both, Tommy and Erin, also running events based around art, right, for years now. Do you see physical components in all these environments being attracting to traditional audiences, perhaps? Does that help? And so also back to selling the digital piece separately from the physical one, don't you think it maybe would help to attach the two, and that's their foot in the door? I don't know. I want to hear from everybody about this.
I think, yeah, it helps sometimes. An example is recently I did a sale in Sotheby's, and a lady bought the artwork. She had 83 years old. So she was like, it's my first digital artwork, and
Wow.
I bought it because it was physical, and they understood that it was an ordinal. So I did a call with her, I explained it everything. She was a little bit lost, but it's normal.
That's
and
amazing.
I think it's thanks to a physical one. Maybe someone that is more traditional is going to say, hey, I'm going to put the artwork in my screen, in my phone. And because there was a physical, that helped it.
I'll use the converse example again, going from digital to physical, because we're doing this auction called Megalith.art. Harto is participating. Harto has like a physical and digital piece that's together for that. But the example I'll use is we're auctioning off the first piece of Fun, which is Casey and Parker's collection. Casey Rodamore, creator of Ordinals, he collaborated with a really great photographer, Parker Day, who both of them are here somewhere in the room or another room. And we're auctioning off that first piece. And initially we were like, okay, let's, auction off this inscription. It's a grandchild of Inscription 0. There's lots of internet crypto personality types that are like, yes, I want that. And then there was an interested collector who reached out and said, hey, it would actually add a lot here to get a signed print of the photograph. Like, I want, Casey's signature. I want Parker's signature. Like, that would be really cool. And that's something that's special that I can keep even if I trade this later or whatever, right? And so it was this kind of interesting, moment of, if you're talking to trad art people, that's maybe obvious, right? They're like, well, why do I want this little digital thing to go along with it? I don't even know what this is. It was interesting to see it go the opposite way, where it was like, the person was like, yeah, I know what I can do with the digital thing. I know that this has value. I know that I can collect this and, whatever with it. They're totally familiar with that world. But they were like, but I just want a little something extra in the physical world. And so we ended up adding that, and we're like, okay, yeah, we're going to do a print. They're going to sign it, all of that. But it was just funny to kind of have that, transition back to physical again. That definitely added something, even for someone who's totally crypto native,
For sure. I guess in her case, her picture photography is analog too, right? So I guess the original Canva is paper, right?
It's like back and forth between digital and physical.
Love that. Carole.
So personally, as an artist, my very first NFT felt weird because it was purely digital, but it came from a physical piece. So as a result, I led an auction, and the highest bidder would get a physical print of my drawing, which for me was a good, middle ground balance between both worlds. And even at Gamut, we have a bunch of artists who do that. They'll auction or they'll do raffles on prints. So one of their 100 collectors will get a physical. I did that as well with Whispers from the Ancient Stone, which was a dot work piece in the whole Runestone week. And holders could claim a physical print. Quite a few did, which was also, super gratifying, seeing that it's not just me who wants my work on the wall as well as on the laptop. And even Inscribing Miami, was it a year and a half ago, I think? With the ticket, we were selling prints by Waxbones that were signed as well by the artist on site, and people were really into that. So yeah, ditto with Erin, just both ways, and especially that one, I think.
Well, I mean, the digital or the physical painting is the original NFT, right? But I think Made X, if y'all know that artist, he's like a hardcore maxi Bitcoin artist who hates ordinals and all. He pretends to threaten me on Twitter, but it's all love. I just gave him a hug at the conference, right before I got here. I forgot what that. He hates ordinals, but he puts open dimes on the back of his physical paintings that he does, and he calls them Bitcoin totems. So they're not tokens, but they're totems, which I would say is a physical token. And he'll put this open dime glued to the back of the thing and generate a novelty or like a novelty address that starts with like 1 MAIDX, and he will fund the open dime from that address so that you know, like, oh yeah, the Bitcoin that's on this totem, not only is it a physical artwork made by the artist, but the Bitcoin I can prove was sent by him and it's funded. So it's like you're buying the art, getting a physical paper wallet type situation. And yeah, it's like the original.
He's going a long way around to make an art.
Yeah, exactly. And I keep trying to get him to come around to NFTs because he's practically doing it. He's just like missing the point of like, if your art was on Bitcoin, it would last as long as Bitcoin did, whether these physical totems do or not. And I think eventually these artists will come around to how cool it is to actually have your JPEG, for lack of a better word, on Bitcoin. But a lot that is a struggle. I curated the Bitcoin art gallery at the conference a few years. I don't do it anymore. Dennis does it.
Shout out Dennis.
Yeah, shout
Very
out to
kind.
Dennis. Dennis Cook is a G. But it's a struggle to get. Even Fractal Encrypt doesn't want to come to the conference anymore because of the ordinals and all that stuff. He's just like, not for me. I'm going to do a pure Bitcoin conference. So it's like, it's a struggle to get a lot of these artists to come around to how cool it is to actually have an on-chain artifact that goes along with your physical artwork. And like I said before, like the time stamping of like, oh wow, this person was making this art at this time. Like that'll be on Bitcoin forever. And I think more and more artists are going to start coming around, especially now that ordinals is a thing and it is on-chain. It's not, an Amazon file stored to a smart contract that's just going to break in the future. Because it really is about storing the file and then the tradability of how, you can pass the file along and prove who owns it when. Like that's great. Obviously, people, as an artist, we love collectors, so we want that to be able to happen. But like as an artist, the real cool thing is having your art be stored on Bitcoin forever. And I think that's why collectors like it too, obviously. So I think, we're going to see more artists who are stuck in the physical only realm come to the Phigital realm hopefully soon.
Yeah, I guess we only have a couple minutes left, but for whoever wants to answer this, maybe they have a quick, maybe it's something they're thinking about. Where do you see all this being in, I'm not going to say like 10 years, let's say in the next couple of years, right? Because we've seen Bitcoin going crazy, right, in the last year, and everyone talking about it in the world news, and this is sort of becoming a little bit more mainstream. How do you see it be in the near term, and is there something that you personally are working towards or planning to do that you have in mind at the intersection of Bitcoin and, physical? Any one of you.
Well, I'll go first. The vibe at the conference, and I think everyone can feel this, is super bullish. Everyone's calling for $250,000 Bitcoin or $500,000 Bitcoin. I think a lot of these people are on their first cycle, and I'm not saying that the price is going to go up or down. I don't make predictions about the price. I can just tell you that the vibe is bullish. We have the vice president coming in to speak tomorrow at the Bitcoin conference. If you had told me that 4 years ago, I would have said you were crazy. I was excited when Andrew Yang came to speak at the Bitcoin conference a few years ago. And now we had Trump, obviously. So, the vibe is super bullish. You got to just zoom out and realize that this is a long road, and it's just the path to the good castle, not the bad looking castle, right? The two paths and the fork in the road. Bitcoin is that long path, and you just got to have your sights at the end of the road and not worry about jumping to the wrong path. And as far as projects I'm excited about, I launched an auction platform called Satoshi House Auctions, and we are just doing physical art, also ordinals. We have a painting that comes with an ordinal this time that's up for auction at the conference. And I'm just, all things Bitcoin art, physical, digital, as long as it's on chain. I love Counterparty, love stamps. I think this is all the right place to be. And I'm just super bullish about the future. The politicians getting involved, it's just the proof that we're right. It's not the thing to be excited about.
I think one thing that has been really hard for most artists that I've talked to who are not yet on Bitcoin is figuring out where to start, how to build a collector base, how to price their art. And I think things are getting better. It feels less overwhelming than it did 2 years ago at the very beginning. But with platforms like Signals, Gamma's new app that Nick introduced this afternoon, that's going to help with that a whole lot, because launches, they're difficult, and Signals is going to let artists figure out what people want, how to price it, how and where to launch. And so I think that is going to be a real breakthrough for ordinals.
I think a good analogy for ordinals and Bitcoin is gold and gold jewelry, right? If Bitcoin is digital gold, first of all, if Bitcoin's digital gold, that's an immediate 10x from here, right? That's 17 trillion market cap for gold, 1.7 trillion for Bitcoin. So we're already at that $1 million Bitcoin. I'll do the price prediction stuff.
Yes,
But most people don't own a bar of gold, right? But a lot of people own gold jewelry, and they like gold. They understand that it's valuable. They understand that it expresses that this is quality, this is luxury, and maybe they have their zodiac sign as a gold necklace or whatever thing it is that is a personal way of expressing yourself through something that is valuable. That's what gold jewelry is. And so I think there's this kind of similar thing that can happen with ordinals. Bitcoin, I say at every conference, we're still so early, there's still so much further to go. And I think, people resonate with art and culture, and giving them something that's fun and that's expressive, they literally still have sats at the end of the day, much like you still have gold if you melt down your gold jewelry. I think that will catch on with a lot of people and resonate with a lot of people.
I agree.
I think that in the next 10 years, we are going to have a lot of museums, art curators, and people that love art that are going to be interested in art, in ordinals. Ordinals are not the same. Especially because we have a very big contemporary art world with billions and billions every year that are going to move more to digital art. So I think that's one of the things that we are going to see a lot.
So everyone's very optimistic. I love it. So am I. Thank you, everybody. This was great. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Violetta.
Thank you.
Thank you.